On the quiet edge of Ravenwood, a town known for its autumn festivals and endless cornfields, stood the old Crestview Hotel. Once a luxurious stop for travelers in the 1920s, it had fallen into decay, its windows boarded, its grand chandelier long shattered, and its halls echoing only with wind. For decades, people claimed the hotel was cursed. Guests who stayed there vanished without explanation, luggage left behind but no trace of the people themselves. Teenagers dared each other to sneak inside at night, but most ran out screaming after only a few minutes, claiming they heard whispers in the halls, footsteps behind them, or cold hands brushing their shoulders. The building had been empty for nearly 50 years when a young filmmaker, Ava Miller, decided it was the perfect location for her horror documentary. Armed with cameras, tripods, and a small crew of 3 friends, she planned to spend the weekend inside the Crestview, filming every moment for her upcoming YouTube series on haunted places in America. She was confident, excited, and didn't believe in ghosts. Her friends Mark, the jokester, Lily, the skeptic, and Daniel, the quiet one, followed her into the hotel as the sun set, laughing nervously at the dust and cobwebs. The first few hours were uneventful. They filmed the lobby, still lined with tattered red carpet, and the dining hall where tables sat covered in dust, untouched since the last guests dined there decades ago. Ava read aloud from an old newspaper clipping she found in the manager's office. Mystery at Crestview. Guests vanish without a trace. Hotel shuts down indefinitely. The words made everyone chuckle nervously, but Daniel frowned. It doesn't say how many people vanished, he whispered, or where they went. As night fell, the hotel changed. The air grew colder, their breath visible in the flickering flashlight beams. The cameras picked up faint static, strange distortions. In the empty hallways, the crew heard faint piano music drifting from the ballroom, though the piano itself was broken and covered in dust. Mark laughed and said it was a speaker left behind, but when Ava checked, her blood froze. The piano keys were moving on their own, slow and deliberate, pressing notes that echoed through the room. Lily wanted to leave, but Ava insisted on staying. "This is exactly the kind of footage we need," she said, though her voice trembled. They set up sleeping bags in one of the guest rooms, room 217, which the town's legends called the Vanishing Room. According to stories, it was the last place most missing guests were seen alive. At 3:17 a.m., Ava's camera turned on by itself. Through its lens, it recorded the room even as the crew slept. The footage showed shadows crawling along the walls, stretching unnaturally, forming into human shapes. One by one, the shadows leaned over each sleeping figure as though studying them. Then, without a sound, Daniel vanished from his sleeping bag. His blanket collapsed flat, empty. When Ava woke at dawn, she thought he had gone exploring. But when they searched the entire hotel, Daniel was nowhere. His backpack and shoes were still by the bed. The group panicked. They tried calling for help, but none of their phones had service. Even stranger, when they tried to leave, the front doors were locked from the inside. Mark smashed one of the glass panels with a chair, but instead of breaking, the glass rippled like water, sealing itself again. Trapped, terrified, they turned on every light they could find, huddling together in the lobby. That was when Ava noticed something horrifying on the wall. The faded wallpaper was peeling, and beneath it were names scratched into the wood. Hundreds of names, carved by desperate hands. She ran her fingers over them, whispering each one. Many were the same names listed in the old newspaper articles about the vanished guests. And at the bottom of the wall, freshly carved, was Daniel's name. The hotel was alive and it was feeding. That night, Mark vanished. One moment he was joking, trying to lighten the mood, and the next, the cameras caught him being pulled backward into the darkness of the hallway by unseen hands, his scream cut off mid-breath. His flashlight rolled across the floor, flickering before going out. Ava and Lily locked themselves inside the manager's office, barricading the door with broken furniture. They huddled together, whispering prayers, but the whispers outside grew louder, circling the room. A voice, low, raspy, endless, said, "You checked in, you cannot leave." At 2:00 a.m., the lights went out. Ava lit her camera screen, and through it, she saw the office door slowly opening, though the barricade never moved. Dozens of figures stood in the doorway, transparent, pale, the vanished guests of the Crestview. Their hollow eyes stared at her, their mouths opening in silent screams. Lily clutched her hand, crying, but in an instant she was pulled away, swallowed into the crowd of the dead. Ava screamed and ran, camera clutched to her chest, sprinting through endless hallways that twisted and changed, leading her deeper into the heart of the hotel. She finally stumbled into the ballroom, gasping, only to find the chandelier above glowing with hundreds of ghostly lights. Around her, tables were set as though for a grand feast, but the guests were corpses, rotting and smiling, lifting glasses in a silent toast. At the head of the room sat the hotel manager, a tall, skeletal figure in a suit, his hollow grin stretched too wide. "Welcome to your stay," he rasped, his voice echoing like broken glass. "Check-in is forever." The last footage on Ava's camera showed her dropping it to the floor, screaming as the shadows closed around her. The recording ended with static. Weeks later, police found the camera at the edge of the property, lying in the weeds. Inside, the final video was intact, though the hotel itself was empty once again. No bodies, no belongings, just an endless silence in the Crestview's halls. The building still stands, watching, waiting for its next guests. And in room 217, scratched freshly into the wall, 3 new names have joined the list: Daniel, Mark, Lily, and Ava.